Hello, my dear friends, my dear colleagues. Welcome to another Inget Zoom Serious Talk. Today, our guest is Ferhat Karanfil. Ferhat Hocam is a PhD candidate in ELT at Bahçeşehir University. He is self and self-tutor. Yes. He is also the Erasmus project coordinator in Istanbul Provincial Directorate of National Education. His interest areas are affective factors and in reality, and as you can see, teacher burnout. His title of presentation or talk this evening is Burnout in K12 School Context. The screen is all yours, Ferhat Hocam. Welcome. So nice to see you.
Thank you. I was looking forward to hear this statement from Aydan Hoca. The screen is yours. I was jealous of other people hearing this, and it's a pleasure for me to present here and to be with the colleagues all around the Turkey. Now, for the last 2 years, we often hear this statement. Let me share my presentation. Maybe that is the summary of our last 2 years. Okay. Okay, so we will be talking about a study that we conducted at Uludağ University, and I will talk about its findings. Also, I will offer some ideas on how to deal with burnout. Before that, shall we start a story? Do you want to hear a story? Let me see the chat box. Okay, do you know who is this character? Çekmeköy İlkokulu. Who is he?
Ahmet.
Ahmet, yeah, Ahmet from Hababam sınıfı. Okay, so I will tell you the story. The story can make you cry or weep, or you might need medical assistance when you hear the story, okay? You might burst into tears. But in order to concentrate better, I want you all to close your eyes and listen the story, except for Aydan Hoca, because she needs to welcome the people as the moderator. Okay, please close your eyes and try to visualize my story. My story's title is Young Teacher in Istanbul. In 2017, his service in the east of Turkey finished, and finally he could go to Istanbul. He looked at the map and he chose a school near Şişli, near a very luxurious and posh shopping center. He thought that was the cradle of civilization for him. He could be a state school teacher after waiting for 7 years. And he came to Istanbul and he was dreaming of continuing his further studies. And in July 2017, he went to the school, which was a secondary school, to submit his documents and official needs. At the gate of the school, there was 2 police officers. They asked him, "Are you buying or selling anything in this vicinity?" And he didn't understand anything, so which didn't make any sense to him. He submitted his documents, and when the schools are officially opened, he met his students. Students were quite noisy at all, and during the national ceremony, during the national anthem, they had a considerable amount of difficulty to remain silent. And he observed that their parents are similar. Their parents are doing the same thing during the national anthem. He was very surprised. He went to his first class and he saw a 6-year-old, 6th class student is smoking in the classroom, and 2 boys were fighting brutally. Okay, one of the students asked him, "Hoca, why are we learning English? Are they learning Turkish as well?" And in return, he taught for a while, and he said, yes, these people, other people learn Turkish as well. So he become very exhausted in the first term, and now you decide what happens. Finally, he started to school and students. What is the verb, do you think? It's a verb. This is my sad story. I see no one is crying yet. And this is the second one. He started to avoid, okay? He started to avoid his school and his students. And sometimes he observed that he got report to not to attend the school, medical report, okay? Some of the colleagues were observed and they are getting medical reports. Okay, this is the story to start into the burnout phenomena, and why I studied burnout, because of the experiences as a new young state school teacher. Also, my observations based on my English teacher friends around me, and they are sending their kids to private schools. And I thought there should be something reasonable in private schools. Why don't I conduct a study comparing state schools and private schools in terms of teacher burnout? And that's the personal side of the thing. And I started conducting a study. And if you look at the literature, the expectations from private schools are limitless. Parents are often asking a lot of things, and parents believe that the number of hours assigned to be English is insufficient in state schools, but it's enough in private schools. That's one of the reasons. So if you ask anybody on the street, why is your children at private school, they probably would say for doing sports, for learning English. So English is one of the selling points for the private schools. Okay, also, if you need to compare the state schools, teachers need to work in compulsory service areas. And Salim Razi and Ebru Altun have done a study about this, and the compulsory service areas bring out some challenges to the state school learners, like not enough monitoring, teachers are away from their families, there are crowded class, lack of digital devices. So lots of problems for the new and young and fresh teachers. Well, in him, there are butterflies flying to teach and meet his students, but when they actually go to the class, they see what's that? What terrible things are happening around me. Okay, and in my study, I interviewed 12 teachers, and we asked about what is the different reasons for you guys for your burnout. State school teachers were saying mobbing from management, there are careless parents, syllabus, state school books that they have to use, ever-changing policies, and student behavior were the reasons for them to have burnout. But private school teachers are saying parent expectation and misbehavior and the competition among schools. And there is no job guarantee. There is not a reliable assessment. I mean, students are getting high grades anyway, and they work more than 30 hours in a week, which is too much maybe. Okay, also in INGET conference this year, thanks to Amanda Hoca or Aydan Hoca, I don't know who invited her, Helen Watt talked about a new issue, which is worn out. And worn out could be empirically different from burnout, but they have similarities. Worn out is about teachers who have reduced their effort and occupational engagement, and they were no longer personally invested in performing well. But burnout teachers are still struggling. They are still trying to do things, trying to achieve things. So there is a difference between worn out and burnout. And maybe if there's a scale, I ask Alan what is, if there is any scale on that day, and we will conduct another study on that. All right. So in Turkey, teachers being stressed is often inevitable. Before we start the session, we talked about this, and where the Turkey is somewhere where the PISA scores are low, like Egypt, Brazil, or Peru, and we have a low or substandard public perception about the education. So if you ask anybody, is the education system good in Turkey, they will probably not happy about it. And in context like ours, teacher studies is teacher status is relatively high, but the student outcome, student success often may be poor. And there are other issues like poor salary, workload, perceived monotony of teaching, and student behavior as the factors in which becoming teachers feel burnout and which make the teachers leave teaching or attrition. So one of the key terms for both state school teachers and private school teachers is the student behavior. Okay, this is the one of the most important findings for this study, because teachers are good people. We have instincts to teach people, to help people, to make them unlock their potential and help them. And one of the most important thing I found out is, if your students are happy and successful, and if they know how to behave, the teacher don't feel burnout. So student behavior by itself is the most important, one of the most important facets. Okay, what we have used Maslow's burnout inventory for education. It consists of 22 7-point Likert scale, and it has 3 sub-dimensions: emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and personal accomplishment. These are the subscales that we used in our study, and we reached more than 200 teachers from different cities of Turkey. And in order to compare the levels of burnout, we conducted MANOVA tests. And at this stage, Altay Hoca from Bolu University helped us. And in addition, demographic variables, gender, age, academic level, years of teaching experience were investigated if they are somehow predicting burnout or not. Results, what we found out that single teachers are emotionally more exhausted than married or divorced friends. So in other people's study, they found out single teachers experience burnout more than their married friends. What is the solution, do you think? Yani, get married first, then divorce. Okay. Another researcher in Hong Kong conducted similar studies, and they found out younger, unmarried, and less experienced teachers experience burnout more. This is a scientific result. In one of the, it's often a theme in most of the papers. Also, what I have found about emotional exhaustion is state school teachers are experiencing a higher degree of burnout than private school teachers. And we thought that this might stem from the fact that they need to work in rural areas, whereas private schools are located in more in city centers, and students are more engaged to learn. And I was thinking vice versa. I was thinking state school teachers will be more emotional, private school teachers will be more emotionally exhausted, but here uh, uh, private schools teachers are having job satisfaction here because they have more hours to teach. They can witness more success from their learners. And in terms of emotional exhaustion, state school teachers are having higher degree of burnout, which was not predictable at the beginning of the study. Okay, and in terms of qualitative data, we found that school principals, heavy workload, and behaviors of the students and parents are predicting burnout for state school teachers, and private school teachers experience a higher sense of personal achievement in their jobs because they have more contact hours with their learners. And also private school teachers says there is a lack of job description. They're invited to do anything in their schools. Their teaching hours is so much. And for both group of teachers, we conducted this study uh, before the COVID period, I would say. They were complaining about low income, both groups. Now they should be complaining more and more about the low income, I would estimate. Okay, for state school teachers, mobbing chaos in their working environment, because remember the story of Ahmed in his school, the police officers are waiting. There is often, students are prone to bullying each other, to violence. Careless parents, we have books that teachers don't like, and we have ever-changing policies and local exams, which is a threat to learning English, and there is also a lack of teacher autonomy. Amanda Hoca often in her workshops ask the teachers, okay, look through the program. Is there any point that you need to teach grammar? No. But these teachers in these very crowded schools, very crowded classrooms with 60 students believe that the only thing we can do in this classroom is to teach grammar. And I suspect, I don't know, Jam, they are teaching verb 1, verb 2, verb 3 even. So I want to I want to bring to your attention, maybe you can punish them one day. Okay, and Dr. Watt mentioned in her talk in Ingent conference, the first 7 years of teaching is a vulnerable time to burnout, and teachers should be looked after. And at this point, Sedat Akayoğlu wrote in the chat box, in our context, it takes 7 years to be appointed as a teacher, and which is correct for me. I mean, after graduation, let's say for the next 15 years, teachers are inexperienced and vulnerable to burnout. Okay, so what? What should we do? What should we about burnout? Okay, in our day-to-day life, what can we do is we can give priority to our to-do lists. So if there are a number of things you will do, instead of multitasking them, try to give them numbers. So one should be very important, and three should be less important, and write it near them so you can prioritize the things that you need to do. Also, eat the frog first. Do you know what it is, eating the frog first? Do you like eating frog? Anybody? Defnoja is like this. Okay, I often eat frogs first. So if there is something which is scaring you, okay, like you are writing your thesis and quantitative data is scaring you most, you start with the most difficult part of it, okay? Do the most difficult part first. So eating the frog first is the one of the things, because you can do whatever you could do, then think about the rest of it afterwards. And another frog is on the way coming. Okay. Burnout may come without any notice. And if you plunge a frog into boiling water, they will immediately jump out of it. But if you place them into a room temperature water and slowly heat it, the frog will not notice and will slowly cook to death. So it is same as the teachers. We don't realize what we are having at the moment. So we can't understand what's happening around us. And burnout sometimes may slowly heat us and we may not notice it. I don't know, Jam is saying poor frogs. Okay. Okay. But my frogs are very cute, to be honest. Okay. Another technique to use your energy well, and Amanda Hoca often ask me to use this while writing my thesis, is the Pomodoro technique. It's a time management method in which you start working for half an hour or 20 minutes, then you have 3 to 5 minutes break, and every 3 rounds you have a bigger break. It is developed by Francesco Carrillo, and here you can see tomato-shaped kitchen timer. So maybe when you focus on something, you should just forget about your phone or put it in the flight mode, because there is often coming messages, somebody saying something. It is very difficult these days to concentrate on this, on something. So you can't use your energy in the direction you like often. Okay. Also, planning advance is something very good for teaching. So I often remember I don't prepare my course book and things, and I was working in Ankara in Gölbaşı, and I was often, sorry guys, I was late for the class again. So instead of coming in front of your students like this, plan advance, plan the materials you are going to prepare, and if you are not out of breath, if you are not late, it will be very good image for your lessons. If you should arrive the class before your students to make sure is everything working properly, or in online class, making some rehearsals with your material will make you calm and easy in your classroom. Okay. Also, it's very important to stick to circadian rhythms, which is about you should go to bed at around, let's say, before midnight, around like 10 p.m. or something, where you can use your energy sufficiently and you get enough melatonin, and you wake up the next day with sufficient energy that you can put them into the direct correction. So you should get enough melatonin, and you should somehow stick the time of circadian rhythms. Otherwise, if you work very late at night and the next morning you can't wake up, or you wake up moody, and your students will not feel very happy about you, and you won't feel happy about your teaching and the things happening around you. Okay. Another thing to deal with burnout, you know, when you are doing something, before you're attempting something, there is always a bad monkey in your head, and this bad monkey says very negative things. You won't achieve this, there will be bad things, everyone will laugh at you, this is going to be like this is going to be like that. And we should look for ways of stopping that bad monkey in our heads. And it is here, there is a worksheet, or there are digital versions of it. It is called Negative Automatic Thoughts. And you can use it with your learners because this burnout is not an issue only for teachers. It is also an issue for the students. So my current thesis advisor, Enisa Mede, has conducted a study with the repeat learners at university prep classes, and they used the same scale, and they found out some students, some repeat learners have a very high degree of burnout studying the same English course on 2 semesters. They feel depressed. And even some parents might have burnout. Okay, so it's multidimensional. And student well-being is often discussed these days. Teachers' well-being is something important these days, and there are even conferences on them. And uh, we can get we can foster positive thinking in our classroom. It's such an important issue these days. And we used to have 21st century skills, 4 Cs, okay? Now, Sarah Mercer and other researchers develop global skills, which attach the importance to well-being of the learners and the teachers. So I remember like a month ago, Kemal Sinan Özmen Hoca has given a INGAT talk, and he talked about this cognitive dimensions of language learning, and he was offering the rather than cognitive dimension, student dispositions like open-mindedness or being happy or asking for truths are more important. So if you are the best teacher, if you have the best interactive whiteboard, and if you teach with the best course book, if you and your students have some kind of burnout, unhappiness, it's in vain. So you should try to diagnose if there are any problems, there are any potential problems. And on this positivepsychology.com, there are worksheets in which you can integrate into day-to-day teaching, and you can increase your students' awareness to psychological issues. And also this book, Exploring Psychology, yes, maybe here better you can see, Exploring Psychology in Language Learning and Teaching. It's written by Marion Williams, Sarah Mercer again. So there are number of tasks in it in which you can integrate into your English language teaching classes and show the importance of psychological issues and affective factors in language teaching, because we are not teaching the only cognitive side of the children. We are looking at the whole child and whole child learning. All right. Okay, so what is this here? The red line. What we say it? Any drivers know it? What is that? Let me see the chat box. I've been talking a lot. Yeah, gear. That's right. That's right. But there is another word, Işıl Hocam, in front of it, starting with N. Anybody? Yeah, this book is, let me see, Oxford, and Herbert Gupta and Sarah Marcel is, yes, neuralgia. Yes, neuralgia. Okay, this activity or this idea is owned by Ushapa Fortuske, and she's a good writer on well-being. So what you do is we do multitasking, okay? We do many things back to back in a daily life. So what we do is we breathe out until 5 times until our lungs are empty, so we can empty our minds as well. So the next time when you start your next task, and you will start with a fresher outlook. So shall we try it? Nobody has died trying it before, so you will automatically get your breath back. Don't worry, okay? But it shouldn't be like, it should be like, okay? Shall we do it together? 3, 2, 1, 5 times. I observe all of you. I observe all of you who can't do it. Aydan hocam, another try, another chance. Okay, okay. No accident, no need to medical assistance now. Okay, you will automatically get your breath back. So if you do it in your classroom, sometimes in the classroom, students are like, "Hocam, we are very tired. Let's stop it here." You can try this kind of small meditations in your classroom, or they can close their eyes and try to think about their head, their feet, their arm. You know, these kind of exercises make students uh, well aware of their body and how they can get rid of the stress. There are something happening in the chat box that I often escape what's happening. I see you guys are laughing, so I should see. Okay. Some stretching movements, yes, some stretching movements also will help to get rid of the anxiety. Because for years we've been talking about Horvitz language learning anxiety scales, and actually in practical terms we should do something in our classroom, and they don't require like high meditation skills, so they are very simple movements and exercises that we can use in our classroom easily.
Ferhat Hocam, Işıl Hocam wrote breathtaking experience. That's why we were laughing.
Okay.
It's a very nice pun. Yeah, so we liked it very much. Sorry.
But everyone survived, no lost, thankfully. Okay, Işıl Hocam. Okay, implications. Let's look at them. Teacher education programs should inform pre-service teachers on psychology in language teaching. The prospective teachers should be aware of these terms. And the content of in-service professional development seminars should be differentiated according to the needs of private school teachers and state school teachers. Because often what happens is you ask a teacher trainer, what can you do for us? And the teacher trainer comes and present about something ready, something that is not tailored for this group of teachers, okay? So the CPD events should be tailored to the needs of the teachers. Also, language teachers should learn about coping strategies and how to cope their stress and negative emotions during their life. And finally, if we know our learners, if we know their ideals, their field self, and in language learning, and if they are prospective teachers, and we should ask about their specific hopes and motivational forces. We should ask them, why do you want to be an English teacher? What is the driving force for you? And if we understand their intention, maybe we can guide them better to be English teachers that are aware of student psychology. And if they know excellent grammar, if they can teach excellent grammar, it's useless unless their students are emotionally ready for it. Okay. And I want to finish off, of course, with Atatürk. And a good teacher is like a candle. It consumes itself to the light way for others. We are often spending our energy for unlock the potential of our learners, to make our learners achieve their dreams. And we are very good intention people. We love our students, and our students' success is making us, somebody else's child's success is making us happy. And as Mustafa Kemal Atatürk said here, we should continue consuming ourselves in an efficient way to light the way to the others and to help our learners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ferhat Hocam. Actually, it was your presentation had some touching parts, which kind of made me sad, but also it was full of hope and good ideas. So thank you very much for emotionally waking us up, because sometimes we need that, you know. If my dear colleagues, if you have any questions or any comments that you would like to, ask Ferhat Hoca or contribute, please raise your hand and unmute yourself and say it. Ferhat Hocam, this study that you carried out was for teachers at secondary school, right? Secondary or high school, lycée?
We didn't categorize them. We said private school teachers and state school teachers, and they were coming from all different backgrounds. So we want to compare the teachers and what leads to their burnout in their teaching.
Honestly, I have never carried out a research like this, but my observation is just the opposite for universities. State university professors are more comfortable, happier, more satisfied than private university professors. Somehow, I guess it's related to the score that students make in the university entrance exam. So higher students with higher grades come to state universities, and they are very well behaved. Well, most of them. Of course, there are rotten tomatoes among them, but still very well behaved, respectful, devoted, as opposed to private university students. This is just a personal observation. It's not a scientific study. So if anyone is interested in the audience, yes, Mert Hoca.
I think one of the colleagues, Mert Hoca, wrote in the chat box, I have to deal with the parents as well as, which makes him even more stressed. And there are some disruptive students. He warns them, and I use a high volume. Again, no change, he says. Mert Hocam, if you like, you can turn on your mic, or you can just speak about the issue. We will really happy to hear from you, because I believe it's more about being a new teacher and working with difficult learners that brings out these solutions.
Well, in some situations, people cannot turn on their mic. Maybe Mert Hocam has the same problem right now.
Well, he wrote a very proper paragraph. I like reading it about,
Mert Hoca is definitely one of the proper attendees of our series, and he has a lot of stories to tell. I don't know, maybe we should invite him as a speaker and listen to him, what he has to
Why
say.
not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Ali Hocam also has written something. It is in Turkish though. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. He says there is a correlation between the socioeconomical background of the families and the education of the child, or the child's vocabulary, or knowledge of words, maybe we should say. Yes, definitely. I totally
Definitely,
agree
I
with
agree.
you. And I guess it is also related to how parents approach their children, right? So when that teacher that you mentioned at the beginning of your talk entered that classroom, most probably all those students have their own personal stories to tell.
Yeah,
God knows what
sure.
kind of families they come from, what kind of abuse they suffer at home, what kind of negative models they are exposed to. So, well, of course, the next question is, can we solve all these problems?
Well, we can at least try our best. But as you said, I mean, when you see a child misbehaving and doing improper things at school, you invite the parent. And when you come across with the parent, you say, okay, this child is with this parent, is behaving very well now. I believe in this. I mean, the parents' attitudes to school, to teaching, to learning, I remember at our times, we used to show a great respect to the teachers, but it's not like this now. And teachers are often, the novice teachers enter the classroom, they see nobody is caring about them, nobody gives importance to English, and they don't know what to do. So we are living in a different times.
Yeah.
There is one important saying: when the teachers working, we were students, and when the students working, we were teachers
Yeah.
in Turkish, and we are living it. Defne Hocam, would you like to contribute?
Defne Hocam, can you hold on a second? Because Adis Hoca has written a question here before you. So let's be fair. Although I do not agree with the question, I need to, as a good moderator, I need to read it for you. Hocam, it says, I think if a teacher likes his or her job and is interested in teaching, he or she will never be burnout. Even after a long experience of teacher, we'll see. This is Adis Hocam's question.
Okay.
So what would you like to say about that?
Well, I don't want to make generalization. Every context is specific, but while conducting this study, I have spoken to the teachers who have to work in the same vocational school in very crowded classroom with lots of problems. And even if they have the strongest personality, best teaching skills, they might feel burnout. So burnout, it's actually when you wake up in the morning and you know you need to go to school, but you don't like it. You think maybe I should pretend to be ill today. This is burnout. Maybe you say yourself, maybe I should find some excuses not to teach my students. I should let them to watch a film or something. This is burnout. So any teacher during their career might feel burnout. Burnout is something more job specific, I would say, rather than a personality trait or anxiety.
Yeah. And there are wonderful remarks in the chat box. Amanda Hocam says, I think burnout can happen to anyone. We all have our ups and downs. The main thing is to try to navigate the lows. And Pelin Hocam says, maybe in the perfect world, there's no burnout. And Azra Hocam says, I think when teachers don't meet their needs, it may cause this burnout. when they are not intrinsically satisfied with the values, yes, it may cause burnout.
Yeah.
If you have a bunch of students in front of you who are not interested, who are not motivated, who are not engaged, of course you will feel down. But as Amanda
Mhm.
Hojam stated, I guess that's how you manage that. Defne Hojam, thank you very much for holding. You can now ask your question, please.
Oh, I wanted to make a comment actually
Okay,
about
sure.
dealing with difficult students, especially with at auto school, like grade 8. I taught there in that kind of situation for one semester because I was appointed for some reason or another. Well, I wasn't really prepared for anything, but I was there, and it was my 4th year at Metu Hazırlık, so I'd been teaching post high school, let me say, and it was a sudden change. But I noticed there were some difficult students, and everybody recommended talking to the parents. And what happened when the parents came up, I realized I didn't know how to talk to parents. I think we should be really careful about what we say about the kids to the parents, or what we believe the parents are doing to the kids at home, because we might be doing more damage than good.
True.
It's really a very, and that age, the auto school age, like the grades 5, 6, 7, and 8, it's very, one little word goes to the
They are
parent,
very
and
vulnerable.
that word explodes at home. And that student loses all hope in you, and the student you may be thinking might be really hard on you might have other feelings. Actually, they just don't know how to express themselves. They might be having trouble at home, and you, more often than not, you find out that there is some kind of trouble at home, maybe some kind of divorce, maybe there's something behind it. So we need to have some compassion, but when we're young, we really don't know how to do that. So we need some training and guidance, and before we cast any kind of judgment about a naughty or difficult kid, we need to really learn how to handle things. When we face those kids, we're worried about classroom management. We're worried about us, how we're standing, and we're losing our face in the classroom and everything. And then we want to get the student to behave just like others, and we want to go to these shortcuts, and they may be wrong. So that's what I wanted to say. It's really a difficult thing to do. We need training and guidance, especially when you're young.
Well, I guess
totally agree.
As teachers, maybe we should know how to consult the school. What are they called? Counselors? Are they counselors?
School counselors.
Yeah, because they know psychology. Okay, we have studied psychology, but we can never be an expert, and we shouldn't act as an expert. That's something that we need to be very careful. Maybe then we can cooperate and collaborate with the school counselor and get some help from them. Is that, I don't know, is that a good idea?
I think definitely it's a good idea. So one of your remarks about how unsuccessful your student might be, as Defne Hoca mentioned, might result in something disastrous for the learners. So we should be very cautious about what we say, and we should get help from the school counselors. Maybe they can learn about study habits, behaving well, because now we live in a multilingual world with students with ample needs. I mean, there are dyslexic learners, there are different types of learners, there are learning disabilities, and I or some of you were not trained for this.
No.
So we should know how to deal with these kind of learners. Actually, how to deal is not a proper word, how to help these learners and how to cater for their learning. It's not just about teaching classes and saying goodbye. It's more than that, and we should somehow help the parents because they could be at some point hopeless So there are studies on parents burnout even and students burnout, and parents should be very discouraged about for their students learning, and we need to help them as well.
Yeah. Tunay Hocam mentions uh, the financial aspect of teacher burnout, mentioning moonlighting, because teachers do not make enough money.
Yeah.
They try to do other additional things, maybe giving private lessons or working as a translator, interpreter, that kind of thing. So they do not have enough energy and time to prepare activities, to prepare different things for their students. It's just a comment. I don't know whether you agree with this or not.
Well, I agree with that, Hocam. I worked as a speaking examiner for international exams. I do some editorial jobs for different publishing companies. So if you think about the salary a state school teacher would normally get, it's now nearly $500 or something. So it's same for the state school and private school teachers. And it's important that teachers are financially okay. They don't have to spend their valuable energy on other things.
Yeah.
But here are the Turkey's conditions. I think we have to put up with that and find ways of coping strategies.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. So moonlighting is something that we cannot escape from. It's not something that we can put aside because yes, unless we fulfill our basic needs, how can we do anything productive and creative? I totally agree with Tunay Hoca. How can we solve this problem if it happens, as Azra Hocam asks, if we
Azra,
suffer from burnout?
okay, that's an
What should
excellent
we
question.
do, Dr. Bey?
Okay, I will help you now. Trust me, I'm a doctor.
Okay.
Okay, I read a lot about it, and so saying I'm very tired after the school, I will just lie down today and get my energy. I will be very energetic if I lie down. No, it won't work. So you should do something good for your health and good for your spirit. It should be a hobby. It can be some kind of uh, uh, motivating, something that motivates you. Maybe you can sing songs and you can cook something that you really enjoy. You make your energy rise, okay, and you regenerate your energy. And otherwise, if you just try to rest, you wake up the next day with very low energy, and this low energy will get less and less. So you need to feed your soul, I would say, Azra Hocam, and do something you really, really enjoy and find the joys in the life. And it could be anything you enjoy. So I can't say do this specifically. Maybe you need something and you really enjoy it. Amanda Hoca is famous for her knitting and
Yeah.
she does excellent things. Amanda Hocam, is this useful for your well-being? That's a sudden question for her.
Yeah, it's if you follow Inged YouTube channel, I have a video there. It says me skills, me skills.
Yes,
You
exactly.
should watch that because as teachers or as any human being, we need me skills, putting ourselves in the right, um, what, a psychological bubble. Everyone has their own remedy, cure for
Yeah.
me, and I have different cures for different situations. If, for example, I feel very angry, I usually use the technique that I saw in an animated movie. I take a cushion or a pillow, you can use a pillow, put it on my face, and shout like hell several times. Because then when you have the pillow, no one can hear. But of course, don't suffocate yourself. every now and then take a deep breath and go for another one. Every now and then, I swear, in English and in Turkish.
We are hoping for more meditative actions, though yours are.
This is how to get your anger out of your chest.
Yes.
Because if you keep it inside, it kills you.
Yeah.
Okay. When you are done, and sometimes I do crazy things like gorilla thump, whoa, that kind of thing, or dance. When I'm done, when I take that negative thing out of my body, I sometimes knit. Sometimes I cook. Sometimes I just sit at the balcony, watch the city. I'm lucky I have a balcony, I can sit. And sometimes I take a short walk. Always a short one. Look at me, never long walks. Sometimes I take a short drive. So Azra Hocam, you're going to find your own therapy. Try it out. Try to see what happens. But I strongly suggest you take the negative energy out of your body first. Then do something to calm yourself down, to meditate. Look at me. I'm giving all the advice.
Anil Hoca offered a book in the chat box. Maybe Azra Hoca can start reading this kind of books and learn some meditations that are easy to apply, or some yoga. That will all help.
Anil Hocam, can you also please write the publishing house? It will be easier, I guess, for people to find, or if you know the authors can you add that as well? If that's not going to be a problem. Okay, yeah, listening to music. I sometimes meditate even in my office. Oh, yes, Pelin Hocam, that's a good idea. Just close your door and do it. Why not?
And look for something to be grateful for. Well, today I woke up, I'm breathing, I'm healthy, I have my family, I have some food in my fridge. So if you are full of happiness, and if you can just find positive things in your life and you concentrate your energy on them, they will be more visible to you. And this way you get more energy. So if you focus on negatives, these negatives will be even deeper and deeper day by day.
Yeah.
I would suggest.
I think we all needed this kind of therapy, right?
Yeah.
Well, we every now and then feel really burned out, but we always find a way, to just get out of this situation and do what we do. Okay, Jonna Jint, is that a YouTuber? Yeah, she's relaxing. Okay. So I guess that's a YouTuber who kind of does meditation. So you may try it. Okay. Thank you very much, Tunay Hocam, for suggesting that.
I often watch cat videos, which make me smile, and I feel energized, and I get 3-5 deep breaths and go into my neutral gear, and I continue to the next task. Cat videos, as simple as this.
Yeah, I don't like cats very much, so I prefer puppies. I love puppy videos. It's the taste. I'm not a cat person. I'm a dog person. I love dogs. Okay. But they are heartwarming. I agree with you. All the animals, I mean, they're so... I know Tony is a huge cat maniac. He cannot stand cats. Yeah. Maybe you can also start a new hobby, something that you have never tried before. Maybe riding a bicycle. I don't know, depending on the situation that you have. or maybe collecting something. My daughter, for example, collects lighters. You know, when people are done with their lighter, she goes and asks for them. If you're done with it, can I have it? Because I collect them, and every now and then she organizes them. You know, she does things with that. Well, she used to, I should say, because she's now dealing with Inget videos. He doesn't have any time to do any hobbies. Poor daughter. Okay, I think, yeah, I think we kept you long enough, Ferhat Hocam, but we definitely we enjoyed this a lot. That's why we kept you here. In fact, we didn't want you to go. Thank you very much, and hope to be with you again sometime soon. Hopefully. And as usual, my dear colleagues, it's a huge pleasure to have you with us. Thank you very much for your contributions, ideas opinions that you have shared with us. And hopefully I will see you next week with another guest.